What's going on, everyone? Jack here with Half Chrome, and this is the cotigo Specta Air, right? It does look, of course, like the Air 3, at least on the outside. So we wanted to find out, what does it look like on the inside? Is it sharing the same components inside as the DJI Air 3? So Chris went ahead and took this thing apart from the top and the bottom. Proved to be not an easy task, but we've got some results for you so we can tell you what it looks like on the inside. I also want to talk about some of the things that are compatible between the Specta and the Air 3 here, because it's not everything, right? So let's get into that first. All right, the propellers here are compatible. I was actually flying, if you notice in some of the earlier videos, with the Master Air Screw orange props. Actually, I kind of just did that so that it was easier to designate the Specta Air versus the Air 3. So if you're watching, that's why I was flying on orange props. Also, if you have ND filters, they will be compatible, right? So I just took off the Specta Air here. This is the Air 3, which does say DJI on the glass. Can I swap them? Yeah. So back to the good old Specta here, and I've got my DJI glass. Yeah, that fits just fine, right? See, not the Air. So ND filters, if you have them or if you want them, Specta Air will work with Air 3. Batteries, however, this is a big one. They're not compatible. I tried both ways. If you put a DJI battery in the cotigo, it says not a Specta battery. If you put the Specta battery in the Air, it says not a DJI battery. So unfortunately, the batteries are not compatible, but the chargers are, right? So I'm using this DJI 3-up charger to charge my Specta battery as well as my Air 3 batteries. I can put them both in here at the same time and it charges them up. It doesn't care. Gimbal guards are, of course, identical. Any case or anything like that, that of course is going to work because the geometry on these two drones is the same. What about the remotes? No. I cannot fly a DJI drone on my Specta remote. I cannot fly a Specta drone on my DJI remote, so they are not compatible. Is there any other accessory that I'm missing? Goggles? I can't imagine they work, but I haven't tested that. I guess that's something I'll try later. But if you think of something else and you want me to check it out, let me know. All right, let's take a look at that teardown video.
All right, guys, let's get into this teardown. I've got my camera looking down. I've got the Specta on the table, and if you look carefully, I've got a can of acetone there on the floor, and you'll understand in a minute why I needed that. So it turns out one of these screws was a real pain. They put some really hard epoxy on it. You can see me trying to get it off here. This is not in the teardowns you see online. So I don't know if it's a new addition that whoever is building this is putting on, but I was really stuck. I didn't know what to do. Then it occurred to me to get some acetone and very carefully put it right on the adhesive, and that really softened it up. So if you need to do this in the future and you have glue on a screw, try acetone. Just don't get it on the rest of the drone because it will attack pretty much everything. After some trial and error, we finally get it off. Now this takes a lot of patience and skill to unsnap things. But eventually we got it opened up. So let's take a look at what's inside here. Not much different than what you might see in other teardowns. Everything looks the same. Components are covered in shields, so you can't really see what the processor is, but really everything looks very, very similar here. Even the hardware connecting the arms, the prop arms, is looking very, very similar, identical you might say. Here's the cover, so going to some fans and some other hardware also looks very similar. Looking at the details, they now have a number in the plastic that isn't there on the DJI. The connector color is white instead of black. I mean, these are very nuanced things. Tape covering one of the cables, that's not there in the original DJI teardown. And finally, most importantly, no DJI label. Alright, so now let's get into tearing off the top of the drone. This is a lot more work. The first thing we're going to gain access to here actually is a little compartment. That's one of the easiest things to get to. This is for holding, I believe, the LTE add-on that you can get, although not so much here in the United States. There's a couple little coax connectors in there and some extra screws that you need to get out in order to remove the top. So this takes a while. You actually have to get in here and remove apart the gimbal temporarily, which I figured out there's 2 screws hidden under there, which makes it even more of a pain. The gimbal is connected on some harnesses, and it's a little more risky. I didn't remove those flex harnesses when I removed the bottom, so be careful if you're going to try this at home. I don't actually recommend doing any of this. It isn't a trivial exercise. At last, we've got the top off this thing. Let's take a little closer look at what's inside the top cover of the Specta. We've got the USB-C there on the left, which serves, I believe, to power the LTE, and I think what's labeled B1 there, the large silver thing, is the GPS antenna, and we'll see it's a little bit different with what's in the original DJI Air 3 teardown. So labeled with the B1 compared to the A2 on the DJI, we've got some orange flex harness looking antennas versus the transparent ones in the original DJI. In the top right there, you've got a little bit different connection for the forward cameras, and of course, no DJI logo on the Specta.
Okay, so yeah, it's very much the same on the inside as it is on the outside. They're very similar drones. Are they identical? No, we have some small software differences, the badging differences, but hardware-wise, they're basically the same thing. So if you're looking for a drone that isn't DJI, if this might be some way to get around a ban that might be coming, there's so much speculation out there. I don't know the answers. I've asked lots of questions, so we'll see. I'll continue to update you when I have more information. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. Plus, if you like drones or fun things, electronic stuff, e-bikes, subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of that stuff. We do it because it's fun. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Good luck, everyone, and happy flying.